What is up? What's good? What's going on? How you doing? How you been? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing all right myself. You know, life ain't all sunshine and rainbows. So, I've had my fair share of ups and downs. As you can see, I'm back at home again. Um, I take a lot of time off. That's one of the reasons that I came back and did this job. Um, Real quick before I start talking about what's been going on with me, for anybody who hasn't watched all of my videos or hasn't watched many of them, especially the early ones, like the reason I got back into trucking because I used to do this like 15 years ago. I drove for 3 or 4 years, and I did over the road. I did line haul, local. I went back over the road again. Um, and I just hated it. I was a company driver the whole time. I love the job. I love trucking. I've like been passionate about trucking since I was a kid. I like when in high school when everybody else was dreaming about being doctors and lawyers and veterinarians and like teachers and whatever else high school kids dream about doing. Um, I wanted to be a truck driver. Well, guess which one of us lived their dream? um, it really just kind of crushed me whenever I was, finally did it, and I hated it because I love the job itself. I love I think the trucks are awesome. I love the trucks. I love, like, there's so many things that I love about trucking. But there were some things that I hated about trucking. I hated the dispatchers. I hated somebody else having control over my day. I hated the constant interruption. I hated that I had no free time at all. I hated that I didn't really make enough money. Yeah, when I left trucking the first time back in like 2006, 2007, I was making about $85,000 a year as an over the road driver, but that wasn't enough. Like, I was working 100 plus hours a week to do that. Once you start breaking down like how much of your life you're sacrificing versus how much money you're making, it was the equivalent of making like 30 to $40,000 a year, but I was working 2 to 3 jobs with the number of hours I was putting in. It was just, it sucked. And I was in my early 20s whenever I was in trucking the first time, early to mid 20s. And that's not a good time to be in, a job where you're just giving up so much of your life. You just feel like you're sacrificing your best years. Um, so yeah, it just sucked for me. I got out of the industry. This time when I got back into the industry, I the only way that I could talk myself into doing it was to create a plan to do it differently. I'm not going to come back and just expect things to be different and expect things to be better. I researched what the current like environment was in this industry, what the pay was, and stuff like that. Um, and I had to come up with a plan to correct the things that I hated the first time, and I did that. And I love it. Like, I am so glad that I did this. It sucked whenever I first got back into trucking, but I knew that. Like, that was part of the plan. I had to get experience again, and I had to go through the steps to get to where I needed to get to. And now I'm like in my end game. I've gone through all the bullshit of being a company driver, of team driving training, of going through CDL school again, all that crap. And the big part of my plan, like what I wanted to accomplish in trucking, is I wanted to be an owner operator where I could make a lot of money in a week. I could make enough money in a single week that I could support myself for at least a month. Like, I could make enough money in one week that I could take a month off for every week out. And that gives me the flexibility to take as much time off as I want. So that was one of my goals. Another one of my goals in being an owner operator was working off of a load board so that I could pick and choose where I go, when I go, and I'm not sitting around waiting on a damn phone call. If you've been a company driver before, which most of us have, you know that it sucks ass to be sitting around in a ready state, waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, knowing that there's somebody trying to find something for you to do. When you're in that state, you can't really do anything. You can't go to sleep. Like, you know that if you go to sleep, the very instant you fall asleep, that phone's gonna be ringing, or that Qualcomm's gonna start buzzing. Um, so when you're in that state, you can't really get involved in anything. Like, as a gamer, I couldn't like get like in games. There are certain things that you do that are time consuming, and I couldn't get started in any of that stuff because I knew at any moment I could be interrupted. I hated that shit. Me doing my own dispatching, picking my own loads, I don't have any of those problems. I know when somebody's looking for a load for me. I know, like what, like I don't have to worry about somebody hitting me up and being like, hey, um, I need you to go over here within the next hour. I need you to be here, 50 miles away within an hour to make an appointment to grab a load going to, downtown Chicago, delivering to some shithole place that is not designed for these trucks. Like, I get to pick and choose the loads that I take. And I look at the addresses. And if somebody tells me it's a direct store delivery, I'm like, all right, give me the address. I'm going to look it up on satellite. And I'm going to find out, like, is this place a bitch to get into? Because, fault me if you want for being that particular on my loads, but like, I've done this job for several years, and I know that my driving record is like that's everything. Like, if I fuck up my driving record, then I may be stuck in a position where I have to drive for like some shitty company job, and I may end up quitting this career. So it's not worth it for me to go and deliver to some shithole place where the risk of me bumping into something or getting into an accident is incredibly high. So I am very particular about the loads that I take. But anyway, I say that to kind of preface what's been going on with me, because I just took a lot of time off. So what's been going on with me? I picked up my very first load with Landstar in Laredo, Texas. It was a $4,200 load, if I remember correctly. That was going from Laredo, Texas to Beresford, South Dakota. Beresford, South Dakota. We got technology and shit here. Laredo. Let's go to Google. Laredo, Texas to Beresford, South Dakota. And we're gonna all right, make sure there's nothing personal on here. There's not. Let's go to the browser. Oh crap, you know what? Okay, never mind. I was about to say, I thought I had the browser all messed up, but no. Okay, so that's a map view to give you an idea of where Beresford, South Dakota is down in like the southeast area of South Dakota. It's in the southeast corner of South Dakota. So, yeah, let's zoom in a little bit. That is the load that I took. It's basically straight north on I-35 all the way to Kansas City, and then from Kansas City 29 up to Beresford. Really easy run. The only thing that sucked about this run was Texas. The drive across Texas was an absolute fucking nightmare, especially through the Austin area. I started driving at 10 p.m. Friday night in Laredo, and I arrived just north of Oklahoma City around 9 a.m., I think. I can't remember exactly when I ended my day, but I drove my full drive shift, and I made it just past Oklahoma City. So I drove all the way across Texas in my first drive shift, and like as soon as I crossed the border into Oklahoma, it was like a relief, because driving across Texas was a fucking nightmare, man. There's like so many, like it was really congested for a Friday night, for driving at night. There was a lot of people on the road. There were a lot of accidents, a lot of dumbasses. I mean, there was just, it was chaotic. I hated it. So that was my first drive shift. My second drive shift, I made it to Beresford. I made it to Beresford Sunday morning. My delivery wasn't until Wednesday morning. So I had 3 days off at the TA in Vermilion, which let me zoom in on the map. Vermilion's 20 miles south of Beresford. So Vermilion's right here off of this State Road 50. Now, the TA is right off the exit right here. Vermilion's actually a few miles west of Interstate 29, so I don't know if the TA is technically in Vermilion, but it's called the TA in Vermilion. So this is where I camped out, 20 miles away from Beresford, and I stayed there for 3 days. And then Wednesday morning, when it came time to do the delivery, I drove 20 miles up to Beresford. And let's switch over to satellite view. And right here's Beresford, right off the 29. And so right here's the interstate. And within a half a mile of the interstate is where I was delivering. This subway right here is basically where I delivered. What it is this building. This back part of this building, they're turning it into a Family Dollar. I don't know what it used to be, but they're turning it into a Family Dollar. And I think what they told me I was delivering was a refrigerating unit. I don't know what kind of refrigeration unit. It was in pieces, like lots of little pieces. It was not even remotely partially assembled. It was in a lot of little pieces. It only took them an hour to unload me. It was a construction crew that met me there and unloaded it, and they just had a forklift. They drug everything to the back, put it on the forklift, and then they set it on the ground in front of the building. And then once I got unloaded, let me zoom back out a little bit. There are two mom and pop truck stops. There's this Jet Truck Plaza right here, and then there's this Trucktown Plaza. And I read the reviews, and this Trucktown Plaza right here had showers. So I drove across the interstate over here to Trucktown Plaza, and I parked right here next to, like right here where this flatbed's at. There's a light pole right there. I parked in this exact spot where this flatbed is at. That's where I parked. There are no marked parking spots here or anything, and that's where I hung out for almost a week, 6 days. I got there Wednesday after the delivery, Wednesday morning. I was parked over here by about 10 a.m. and I just didn't feel like taking another load. I don't know how to describe it. I was just kind of like drained. I felt fatigued, like not physically tired because I haven't been exerting myself. I haven't been doing anything. But I felt like exhausted. I don't know how to describe it. It didn't feel like doing anything. And I've been trying to figure out why. Let me go ahead and switch back over to my fat head. I've been trying to figure out what the problem is. What's going on? Why did I feel so exhausted? What I ended up doing because I felt so exhausted was I just didn't feel like taking a load. I mean, I was looking for loads, and if a really awesome load popped up, I would have taken it. But it was a bunch of like normal loads. Like they weren't bad loads. They were decent loads. A bunch of solid loads. I'm talking $3 a mile to $3.50 all the way up to $4 a mile loads. There were, those for USA Trucks load board, those would have been amazing loads, like really good loads. Not unicorn loads, but like really good loads or solid loads. There were a lot of those on the load board. Now, a lot of them were going to pretty bad markets like Denver. Like the majority of the loads coming out of that area were going to Denver, which is not a good place to be. It's like going to Denver and trucking is almost like going to Florida. It's a really bad place to be. But anyway, like there were loads. I don't want to sit here and make it sound like, because at USA Truck, there were two things that were happening to me all the time. I was sitting around waiting for a load and I couldn't find a load, and I would just be sitting for several days at a truck stop And I would be sitting there, waking up at 8 a.m. every day, and I would just be refreshing the load board from 8 to 5 all day long. That's all I did for 8 hours a day whenever I was sitting around looking for a load at USA Truck. I wasn't sitting there playing video games. I wasn't watching TV. I was just sitting there refreshing the load board and searching all kinds of areas, trying to figure out a load I could take. That's not what I was doing with Landstar here. There were loads. And I would occasionally look at the load board and see if there was a really awesome one that popped up. But mainly I was just sitting around playing video games and watching TV and taking a lot of naps. I was sleeping a lot. I was exhausted. I was really tired and I was sleeping a lot and I didn't understand it. Like I would wake up and within a few hours I'd be wanting to take a nap. And I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, why in the hell did I feel that way? And we'll talk more about that in a minute. So let's finish talking about what happened. So I sat there for almost a week. So I got there Wednesday morning. I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, stayed the weekend, and then I was there Monday, and I was there Tuesday, and I was planning on staying there until Wednesday, and then Tuesday afternoon, my internet went out. And now I can't play video games, I can't watch TV. All I can do in the truck is sit and sleep, stare at the ceiling, and that's about it. So, like I do have backup internet options, but they suck. Um, I get a lot of buffering when I'm trying to watch TV, and there's so much latency and disconnects playing video games that it's not worth it. Like I can, still use my GPS and all kinds of other stuff like that run off my Wi-Fi, because I can run a mobile hotspot off of my normal phone. I have 40 gigabytes per month of hotspot usage on my normal phone. Like I have unlimited data on my normal phone, but as far as just hotspot, I got 40 gigs a month, and it's what it is. It's the T-Mobile Magenta. It's the highest level T-Mobile plan you can get, Magenta Max or whatever like that, and it's 40 gigs of priority data that can also be used as hotspot data per month, and then after that, hotspot gets throttled, and normal phone data gets deprioritized. Or like you're not priority data after that. But anyway, I had options, but they're not good options, because my main internet uses a cellular router, and it has much lower latency. It's designed purely for data usage. But yeah, when my internet went out, all of a sudden I was like, okay, I've got to get the internet fixed, because I can't stand to like sit in this truck. I don't enjoy myself in the truck without internet. So I thought about like what to do. I started looking for loads to get to Oklahoma, and the way it was looking, the best case scenario is that I could be in Oklahoma City within 3 days. And it was not a very good paying load. Like the fastest load that I could find to get me to Oklahoma City was a load going from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Henrietta, Oklahoma. Henrietta is not very far from Oklahoma City. I don't know exactly how far it is. I would guess about 40 miles. It's really close to Oklahoma City. But Minneapolis, Minnesota is 350 miles north of Beresford, South Dakota. So I'd have to drive 350 miles in the opposite direction I need to go, pick up a load going down Henrietta, Oklahoma that's not paying very well. The load was only paying like $2,000. So how much do I make on a $2,000 load? I get 65%. The easy way to break down the math on that is $6,500 for every $1,000. So I was going to make $1,300 on a $2,000 load. I make approximately $1,300. Now that's going to shift around a little bit depending on fuel, how much of it they give me for fuel surcharge and whatever accessorials. Like I get 100% of accessorials, and I get 65% of the line haul. But I just base everything off 65% line haul, and it gives me a guesstimate, a rough estimate. So $1,300 for 3 days. I'm only 600 miles away from Oklahoma City in Beresford, South Dakota. I can get there within 10 hours. So if I just drove, if I deadhead from Beresford to Oklahoma City, I can be there in 10 hours. So I thought about it. I called about a few loads, and it was after 5 p.m., so I couldn't book any loads. I only managed to be able to even reach one broker, and she told me that she has to contact another broker to book the load for me, and that other broker is not going to be back till 8 a.m. the following morning. And the load I was inquiring about had to pick up at 7 a.m. So, yeah. Anyway, I went ahead and decided to go ahead and just deadhead to Oklahoma City. So I took off at midnight, or you can look at it at midnight Tuesday night, or Wednesday morning, however you want to look at it. Um, and I just started deadheading to Oklahoma City. I stopped in Council Bluffs, or Council Bluff, Iowa, or Omaha, Nebraska, basically the same city. At the TA, and topped off, or I didn't even top off fuel. I just got enough fuel to get me to Oklahoma City because it was really expensive up there. Um, so I got like 60 gallons of fuel there, and took a 30, and then I drove the rest of the way to Oklahoma City. It took me right at 10 hours to get here, a little less than 10 hours, and that's including the 30-minute break. So it was somewhere between 9 and 9.5 hours of drive time to do the 600 miles. So I got down to Oklahoma City, and let's go back to the map. And in Oklahoma City, I went over to the TA truck stop over here in western Oklahoma City, off Morgan Road right here on I-40. Right here's the TA. So I went to the TA truck stop. This is kind of like, there's a whole bunch of truck stops right here in this area. It's western Oklahoma City. You're on the edge of Oklahoma City. And I went to the TA here, topped off fuel, because this is one of the cheapest places I can get fuel. I topped off fuel at the TA here, checked in with the shop, and they told me it's about a 2-hour wait to do a Landstar DOT inspection for my trailer. So I grabbed some Popeye's chicken and sat around in my truck hanging out for 2 hours. And then they pulled me in and they did the DOT inspection on the trailer. And then I left from there and I drove across town over into this area. Let's see, be right around in here. Right here it is. Bryant. So on the opposite side of town, right here's Big Rig Product. This is the city dump right here. This big mountain is the dump. So Big Rig Product right here, which is opposite side of town. Right up over here is where we were looking at a minute ago. That's where the truck stops are at. So I took 40 over to 44 to 240, and then over here to Big Rig Product. And this is the place where I pay to park my truck. And they also have a shop here that they do pretty much all the work on my truck and my APU. So I went out here and I pulled up here at Big Rig Product. I went inside and I asked them, I was like, hey, do you guys have time to work on my APU today? And they were like, no, we're really busy. We're booked out like a couple of weeks. So I got to chatting with them, explaining to them what I wanted done, and they were like, yeah, we can get you in tomorrow. We might be able to squeeze you in today, but most likely it won't be until tomorrow. So we talked back and forth, and what we agreed to do was I agreed I would go ahead and park my trailer in my assigned parking spot, and I would park my tractor right here next to the shop. And then whenever they could fit me in to work on the APU, they could just pull my truck into the bay and work on it. And whenever they're done, they can pull it back out of the bay and park it right here and call and let me know when they're done. And then I could come over there at my convenience and move the truck back over to my parking spot. And I told them to be really careful about getting over, hitting 5 miles per hour and kicking on my ELD. Otherwise, they're going to cause a lot of extra work for me. So, yeah, that's what we came up to. So they should be getting to it this morning. It's 7:04 a.m. What is today? Today's Thursday. It's 7:04 a.m. Thursday right now, May 6th. And they should be working on my truck this morning. Or not my truck, but the APU. There's 2 oil leaks that I want them to address. And then also I have a brand new fuel leak. The fuel line going from the APU to the fuel tank just started leaking yesterday. After I topped off fuel, the tank sloshing around was leaking fuel yesterday. So I think what it might have been is a deer hit me last week. And I think that deer might have, whenever it hit, it might have, touched the fuel line, the hose, and stretched it a little bit and torn it a little bit. So it shouldn't be that big of a deal to fix it. They just, clip it back a little bit and then reclamp it. It's actually done this 3 or 4 times to me. I don't know what causes it, but this is the 3rd or 4th time that damn hose has leaked right there. So yeah, that's what's going on with me right now. After I got a cab ride, I called, I did an Uber thing and got an Uber from here over to my house, which my house, let's take it out of satellite view where it's easier to see. My house is up here in northwest Oklahoma City. Way up here is where I live. So I live on the opposite side of town as where I park my truck. So I got a cab ride is $23, and then I paid total of $27 for a cab ride up to my house. And the guy who drove me there just got out of trucking in November. He didn't go into detail about why he got out of trucking. He kind of tried to avoid talking about that, so I'm guessing that he got into an accident or something. But he said that he loves Uber. He loves the freedom of Uber. He has a family, and he's constantly having to go pick up his kids from school and take his wife places and stuff like that. So he has a lot of stuff that he has to do with his family, and Uber allows him the freedom in schedule to make all of those appointments with his family. So he said that he loved Uber. He said he hated truck driving, but he loves Uber. So I'm really glad that he's doing something that he's enjoying right now. But yeah, he and I, we didn't actually say anything to each other for half the ride, and then halfway through the ride, somebody pulled some stupid dumbass move where they cut him off because he was maintaining really good following distance. He was doing really good space management, and he had a decent amount of space in front of him, and it was pretty thick traffic. And some asshole in one of those jacked up pickup trucks with straight pipes just blowing smoke everywhere was, he's a special little fucking tulip. And he did that maneuver that happens to all of us all the time. If you are, a decent driver that has space management, this is one of the things that happens to you all the time. People will cut you off and use that space in front of you to fly around people and then cut, back in. So this asshole did one of those, special little fucking tulip maneuvers where he's the He's the only fucking person being, slowed down out here on the road. He's special. He's a unique individual. And so he did one of those dumbass maneuvers. And the Uber driver made a comment about it, and I was like, yeah, well, people don't get any smarter when they get a driver's license. And so he got to talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I used to be a truck driver, and if you notice here, I have lots of space, and, most people don't have, he started talking about following distance and stuff like that, and how he manages his space and everything, and I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I did notice that. You're a former truck driver, I'm a current truck driver. And he's like, you're a truck driver? And I was like, yeah, and I do appreciate your space management and how safe you're driving and all that stuff. And then he just like, man, as soon as he found out I was a truck driver, he just talking about trucking. And, we chatted it up the rest of the drive. But yeah, good guy. But anyway, I got home, Wednesday afternoon around 2:30 p.m. So I left Beresford, South Dakota at 12 a.m. Wednesday morning, and I was at my house 2:30 in the afternoon after getting a DOT inspection and putting my truck in the shop and, getting an Uber ride to my house and all that stuff. So that's where I'm at right now, is I'm at home. The reason is mainly because my internet went out. And let me show you something. I got to be careful not to stand up because I didn't bring all my clothes from the truck. So I'm not wearing any pants. I'm just wearing underwear. So I can't stand up or anything. So let's talk about my internet situation in the truck. So what's going on with my internet? So my main internet went out, and to correct that issue, I had to get home. So I buy internet. Let's go back over to the camera here. I buy internet. My internet in the truck is through a reseller. They work under many different company names: Infinite LTE, Impact Wireless, One World Wireless. Those are just 3 of the company names that I'm aware of that they operate under. I don't know how many they operate under. But what they do is they just go out and they find data plans that are not enforced. And they resell them and say that you can, do this with them. But in the actual contract with the carriers, you're not really supposed to be doing that. And they get busted all the time, and the cards get shut off, the SIM cards. When that happens, and when my internet gets shut off, they have to send me out a new SIM card. Probably shouldn't have done that. It's got my address on it, but yeah, who cares? Do the back of it. They have to send me out a new SIM card. Why is this internet so much better than my other internet? Well, number one, this is a data specific plan. Now, it's basically the same data plan that I have on my phone here, except they go out and find data plans that you can use with devices other than a phone. The reason this one sucks so bad is because it's used on this device. This phone is not designed to be a Wi-Fi router. So I get really bad latency. The antennas in this thing are tiny, tiny little antennas inside this thing. Your cell antennas, your Wi-Fi transmitter, all those things are really tiny inside this phone. That's the reason it sucks. It's one of the reasons it sucks as a Wi-Fi hotspot. And you get bad latency and bad speeds. Because the better your signal is on Wi-Fi or cellular, the better your connection, the faster the speed, and the lower the latency. So the reason that this option is so much better is because I use it with a device like this. This is a cellular router. See all the antennas on this sumbitch? This is my new cellular router. My old one in the truck is a MoFi 4500. It's a $350 router. This is a $200 router It's my new one. It's cheaper. Um, but this one is not blocked by the ISPs, the carriers. My MoFi 4500, most of the carriers have blocked it. And what a lot of carriers have started doing, okay, what the carriers used to do is they didn't really do anything. Then they realized that people were using devices like this, and they started going out and searching for them on their network. And if they find out that you have one of these devices, they will like throttle you down to really low speeds, or they'll cut your connection off completely. So when I take the SIM card out of this phone right here and I put it into one of these devices, it works at really ridiculously low speeds because they detect I'm using one of these devices. By going through the reseller, what this reseller does is they go out and they find data plans with providers where they allow or they're not checking for this type of device, so I don't get throttled. So whenever I am using one of these devices, my cellular signal is amazing, my Wi-Fi signal is amazing, and it increases the speeds that I can get, and it lowers the latency. It's almost like home internet. It's better than some people's home internet. So what ended up happening was my SIM card got shut off, which happens every couple of months. And they sent me out a new SIM card, and they told me that the new data plan that they got won't work with my MoFi 4500. They said that I would have to buy, I would have to use a different device. And they said that this is the best option of device that's most similar to my MoFi 4500 that will work with the provider under the new plan. So they said that we'll give you a discount on this. This normally sells for about $190, up to $250. I've seen it selling for close to $300. But the lowest price that I can find online is $190, and they sold it to me for $120. So this is a cellular router. It's a normal router like you would have in your house. It has all the same connections of the router you have in your house, except it has one additional connection. It has a place where you can put a SIM card, the same kind of SIM card you put in your phone. And it can hook up to a cellular network. So this was sitting on my front porch, and this was in my mailbox whenever I got home. I had to get home to get these two items to get internet back in my truck. So that's the reason I had to get back home. That's my internet that I have in the truck is this type of stuff right here. So it's pretty sweet. And that's what makes it so fun for me to be in the truck, is like the kind of stuff that I do at home is what I do at home is exactly the same thing that I do in the truck. I watch, TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime streaming type stuff, and I play video games. So in the truck, my laptop, I hook an HDMI cable up to the TV. So my TV is a second monitor. So my TV, I watch, the TV shows on it while I'm playing video games on the laptop. So it's a pretty sweet setup. I like it. And without internet, I can't do any of it, so it sucks. So I'm at home now, and I plan on being home for at least close to a week. I got home Wednesday afternoon, and I don't plan on leaving the house until Monday at the earliest. I would actually kind of prefer to leave middle of the week next week and, just sit around and enjoy some time off at home. So I'm looking for a load, and I'm going to try to book a load today or tomorrow that's leaving middle of next week. I'm looking for a load. I'm going to keep looking until I find one. And Trailer Utilization is probably going to call me up in the next day or two and be like, hey, we noticed you haven't moved a load in almost 10 days. We want your trailer. And I'm going to try to talk them out of taking my trailer. And I'm going to be like, hey, I'm looking for a load. I'll tell, I'll explain to them that, I had some drama happen. and that I am actually looking for a load, and give them the timetable of when I'm planning to leave. And hopefully they won't steal my trailer from me. And I'll be like, hey, you know what? I had to go through a whole bunch of drama to get a DOT inspection done on this thing. You know, cut me some slack. um, but anyway, so that's what's going on with me right now. I'm sitting at the house, and I need to go back over to the truck. I haven't taken my clothes out of the truck yet. I haven't taken my bedding material or anything out of the truck yet, because I'm not going to carry that shit over in an Uber ride. So whenever they call me up to go move my truck over to my parking spot, I'm going to drive my personal vehicle over to do that. And I will, at that time, get all the crap out of the truck and move it over to the house to wash it and everything. Um, so let's go back over and talk about like why in the hell I felt so exhausted in the truck. What's going on with that? Why? I've been thinking about it a lot. Now, if you've been following my videos, you know that I just spent a couple of months transitioning from USA Truck to Landstar, changing my lease over, and that was a tremendous amount of paperwork. It was, there was a whole bunch of shit that I didn't do right or didn't do at all, in with my truck purchase and my business and stuff like that, because I fuck up a lot. Like, I'm doing this for the first time. It's learning as you go type stuff. And so there was a whole bunch of crap that I had to do over the last couple of months. So when I was at home for a month and a half transitioning from USA Truck to Landstar, it wasn't like a month and a half of time off. I was doing a lot of paperwork, making a lot of phone calls, sending a lot of emails, going over the Oklahoma Tax Commission, doing title transfers, doing drug tests, doing DOT inspections, getting work done on the truck, getting my steers replaced, driving down to Fort Worth for orientation. Tons and tons of paperwork. I filed my taxes during that time. The first time I've ever filed taxes as a business owner. That was a very daunting task. And, there's a whole bunch of crap that I had to get in order to go down there and do that. And then I found out that my bookkeeper last year was a fucking idiot and like cost me thousands of dollars in tax write-offs, because there was like a quarter, like 3 months of stuff. The last quarter of the year, she didn't like put any of that shit in my write-offs. So I decided to do my own bookkeeping this year. So I had to come up with how to do my own bookkeeping. And I had to go and do all of my bookkeeping for the first 4 months of the year. So that month and a half that I was here at home was not a month and a half off. It was a month and a half of very stressful, mentally draining crap. So I think that's part of the reason why, once I got out on the road and I didn't have anything else to do, I was finally able to relax, and that mental stress level kind of dissipated, and I relaxed, and I was just like, oh my God, I just want to fucking lay in bed all day. So I think that was part of the reason I didn't feel like taking a load and I didn't feel like going anywhere and doing anything. But after getting home and sleeping last night, I'm thinking a big part of it is that I'm not sleeping very well in the truck. Because I got home yesterday and I went to sleep at I fell asleep at somewhere around 7 p.m. And I woke up at 5 a.m. today, and I just feel like a different fucking person. Like, I feel so, like, my energy levels are back. I feel great. Like, I'm ready to fucking take on the world right now. After one night of sleep in my bed. And so that got me thinking about sleeping in the truck. Like, was I having issues sleeping in the truck? What do I remember about sleeping in the truck? Well, I remember getting woken up a lot. I'm a pretty light sleeper, and I remember waking up a lot whenever I'm sleeping in the truck because of, wind gusts shaking the truck, or somebody setting their brakes next to me, or somebody slamming a door next to me or something. Any kind of sudden jerk or noise will wake me up. And I don't know. I just I think that might be part of the problem. But the other thing I started uh, remembering about, the week that I spent there laying in bed in the truck, sleeping and watching TV, is I had a lot of body aches. My hips started hurting. Like I was getting a lot of joint pains. And I'm starting to think that maybe my mattress on that top bunk it just sucks. Because on the top bunk of my truck, there's like a canvas. The way the top bunk is there's like a piece of canvas. It's not like a hard surface underneath like the bed on the top bunk. If you were to remove the mattress and look underneath it, in some trucks it's a really hard surface. It's just like a piece of wood or plywood or plastic or something. On the Volvo, it's like a canvas mat. It's almost like a I don't know. I'm trying to think of. We'll just leave it a canvas mat. It's like a piece of flexible canvas mat. I mean, you could sleep directly on that. So Volvo puts in this really like thin, like 2 inch piece of foam. That's all the mattress is on the Volvo is a little piece of thin foam because you're not sleeping on a hard surface. You're sleeping on like a canvas. Um, shit. What are those things that they like? You put a rope on one tree and then another, and then you sleep on the thing. That's almost what it's like. I can't think of what those things are called right now. Um, but that's almost what the material's like on the top bunk of the Volvo. And what I'm thinking is maybe partly because of my weight, um, I'm so fat, I weigh so much. The that little foam material is just I'm compressing it down to the point where it's just non-existent. So I'm thinking that maybe I will get some better sleep if I put a better mattress up there. And I've been looking at mattresses, and these truck mattresses, some of them are pretty fucking expensive, like $400. I mean, you're looking at somewhere in the $300 to $600 price range for a truck mattress. And I found that I think I'm gonna give a try is I found a hospital mattress. Mattresses for hospital beds are twin XL, which is the size of the top bunk. Twin XL. And what I'm gonna do before I buy a mattress, I have a tape measure in the truck. When I go over today or tonight to move the truck over, I'm gonna measure the dimensions and get the exact dimensions of the mattress area of the top bunk. But what I think I'm gonna end up buying, and let me make sure there's nothing personal on here before I flip it over to it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything personal. Let's go over to the browser. These are mattresses for hospital beds. And like the very basic standard mattress that they sell is about $275. That's one of the cheapest truck mattresses that you can find. And then they go up in price from there. This is 140 bucks. And it's the dimensions of twin extra large. Now it's 1 inch more narrow than the standard truck mattress, but there's another option that's 7 inches wider. It's 42 by 80. So what I plan on doing is going and measuring the dimensions to see what I can fit. And I think I'm going to buy this mattress, give it a try, and see how I like it. And then if it sucks, then I'll end up getting one of the more expensive truck mattresses. But I think this is probably gonna solve a lot of my sleeping issues in the truck. I'm starting to think that the reason that I, was just so exhausted in the truck, even though I was sleeping for like 12 plus hours a day, I think a lot of it had to do with the mattress, and some of it had to do with noise and stuff like that. But mainly, I think it was the mattress. So I think if I get a better mattress, I think that'll help a lot. And I might need to get some better pillows. I'll probably order some pillows, some new pillows as well, because the pillows I have in the truck, um, for some reason, like, I have cheap pillows in my bed downstairs, but for some reason they're a lot better than the pillows I have in the truck. So I just need to order some new pillows. So I'm gonna get some new pillows, a new mattress for the truck, and hopefully that's gonna fix the sleeping issues in the truck. Um, but yeah, that's what's going on with me right now. Is I'm sitting at the house, and I have a Walmart grocery delivery that should be here in a half an hour. In that grocery delivery, let me see if I can pull up. Let me pause this for a second and see if I can pull up my grocery delivery list in a way that doesn't show a bunch of personal info. All right, I just got to be careful about scrolling all the way up because it's got my name, address, and phone number and everything up at the top. Um, so here is my Walmart grocery delivery that's should be delivered within about a half an hour to an hour. So they didn't have any cantaloupes in stock, so the cantaloupes got rid of those. Some jalapenos, some tomatoes, some ketchup, soda, strawberry Fanta. Oh my God, I love strawberry Fanta. I buy Coke for the truck. I keep canned soda on the truck because my Igloo ice chest or cooler, I keep that in between the seats, and I just grab sodas out of that thing while I'm driving. I don't drink a lot of soda while I'm driving. I might drink uh, usually normally 2 to 3 sodas in an entire 11-hour drive shift. But occasionally I'll drink like 8 to 10 sodas in a full drive shift, but that's really really rare. I usually don't drink very much. So then we got what we got here: potatoes. That's not for taking on the truck. That's for eating here at home. The strawberry Fanta is for home. The ketchup is for both. I do bring condiments out with me on the truck, like ketchup, sriracha, sauce. Um, what's another thing that I bring with me on the truck? Salad dressing, Thousand Island salad dressing, because I'm not a big fan of, like, I don't mind ranch. I do eat ranch, but I get tired of ranch pretty quick. So, and most of these places, if you buy salads at the truck stop, most of them don't have Thousand Island. Most of them just have ranch or blue cheese. And I can't stand most of those salad dressings they have. So this is something new that I'm going to try out here at the house that I might start bringing with me in the truck is hot dogs. So I bought some mustard, some pickle relish, some hot dogs, and some hot dog buns. And I'm going to try those out at the house. And I'm going to check the expiration dates on the hot dog buns and the hot dogs and everything, and see how long they last, and see how long like I can keep them on the truck, and test them out here at the house. See if it's something that I might want to start taking with me out on the truck. And then I got some ground beef. That's just to make some hamburgers. I've never ever made hamburgers. Um, I buy them all the time, and they're getting ridiculously expensive to buy like hamburgers over at Five Guys, or what's another place I buy decent hamburgers from is Freddy's Frozen Custard is another place that has good hamburgers that I buy. So I'm gonna try making my own hamburgers. So I bought some ground beef and some hamburger buns, and I've got lettuce, tomato, onion, ketchup, mustard. So that's for eating at the house. I plan on eating a bunch of hamburgers at the house over the week that I'm here. I love these Oikos strawberry Greek yogurts. I bought 4 packages of those things. Those things are amazing. I drink the hell out of milk. Oh my God. Usually when I go out on the road, I take 3 gallons of milk with me. So this 4 gallons of milk right here, I'll drink 4 gallons of milk over the course of a week or two. So yeah, I bought a bunch of milk, some Hershey's. This is one of my favorite snacks, is Hershey's almond bars. I can't stand just Hershey chocolate bars, but you throw some fucking almonds in there, and man, that like almond and chocolate, I love that. A whole bunch of potato chips. This is stuff that I normally keep in the truck for snacks. So these are mainly purchased for the truck. A bag of apples. I snack on apples. Baby carrots. I snack on baby carrots. I'll dip them in ranch and eat baby carrots. And then, the lettuce and onions. So, yeah, this is my Walmart grocery order. And I'm a little bummed out that they didn't have cantaloupes, because I was sitting here really looking forward to eating some damn cantaloupe today. That was going to be one of the first things that I ate whenever I got the delivery this morning, was I was going to go chop up some cantaloupe. But most of this stuff is for eating at the house. This is not like I'll do another grocery delivery whenever it's time to head out on the road. I'll probably do a grocery delivery Monday or Sunday. Whenever I figure out that I'm leaving, I'll do a grocery delivery the day before, and that'll be my stuff to take on the truck. This is not stuff to take on the truck. This is stuff to try out. Some of this stuff I might end up taking out on the truck, like these potato chips. But mainly this is stuff to eat at the house or to test to see if I want to take it on the truck. So yeah, that's what one of my normal grocery deliveries looks like. Let's go back over to my fat head. But yeah, that's what's going on with me right now, is just sitting at the house. And I'm going to start looking for loads. I've been looking for loads. I looked for loads yesterday. And Landstar load board. Yeah, let me pause this, because sometimes it doesn't blur out immediately. There we go. Yeah, it did not blur out immediately. But we got all the phone numbers and agency codes blurred out right here. But yeah, this is what's going on. And the problem is that there are no loads listed that are leaving next week. The only load that's listed within 250 miles of me that meets my search criteria, that doesn't leave in the next couple of days, is this load right here. But it doesn't leave for like 3 fucking weeks. And it's not a very good load. Miami, Florida for $3.63 a mile. That's kind of garbage. Now, there is a load on here that, oh my God, I would love to get. It's this Joplin to Denver load. That's pretty awesome. And then also this right here, this Webb City, Missouri to Denver. Holy crap, $8.32 a mile, 685 miles, paying $5,700. I would love to get that damn load. Oh my goodness. But that load picks up today. and delivers Friday or Saturday. So it picks up Thursday and delivers Friday or Saturday. Oh my God, that is an amazing load. Um, all three of these loads, these might all three be the same load that's just listed three different times, but they're all very similar rates: $7.86 a mile up to $8.32 a mile. But these are the Joplin, Missouri area is wow. It has some really awesome loads coming out of there. So that's probably where I'm going to drive to pick up my load leaving the house. And let me actually pause this and refresh this list and see if they've started posting. Because they start posting new loads right around 7 a.m. Sometimes as early as 6:30 a.m. So there's probably some new loads. Let me refresh this and see what's new. All right. I just refreshed it. I haven't even looked at it myself yet. Um, so they've still got two of those loads. One of them is gone. Two of them are still listed. Ooh, here's a load. Oh, this is that really crappy load. Yeah, this one was already there. It picks up the 12th. Like, that's around the exact time I would love to leave the house is May 12th. But this is a, like, absolute trash load. This thing is garbage. May 12th through May 28th. That is, what is that? Is that 16 days? 16 plus 12, is that 28? That is, isn't it? 16 days for $11,000. And this thing has a lot of stops on it. So one of my search filters is 0 stops. I don't want to do any extra stops. So the jackass that listed this load did not list the extra stops on the load. So it's showing up in my list and it shouldn't be showing up in my list. One of the reasons that I don't have extra stop loads show up in my list is because they don't pay enough money to do all those extra stops. These extra stop loads, yeah, if you don't know what in the hell you're looking at, if you're just like really bad at math, then these extra stop loads look like pretty good loads because the dollar amount, like look at this thing, it's paying $11,000. But it's going to take you 2 weeks, over 2 weeks to do this, and it has something like, I can't remember how many stops on this one. This one had it's like 9 stops or something, and it's a drop and hook on every stop. So you're dropping a trailer and picking up another trailer every single time. So you're going to go through like 9 trailers over a 2 week period, and they just have you driving back and forth across the country. If you were to break this down to a mileage, you're doing, I think, over 3,000 miles a week on this load. Let me just look at the details so I'm not guesstimating. Just a second. Yeah, he doesn't list all of the places that you're going to be stopping at. He just says that there are 8 stops. 8 stops. And you drop the trailer at every stop is what he says in the notes. So it should be a drop and hook on each one. That is fucking crazy. That's terrible. Yeah, it might sound good because it's dropping hooks, but every time you pick up a new trailer, that's a possibility that you're going to have to put a trailer in the shop. I don't like doing drop and hooks because you end up spending a lot of time in the shop picking up bad trailers. And it's going to be a lot of miles. A lot of miles. He doesn't list in there how many it is, but I can almost guarantee you're going to be doing about 3,000 miles a week. So 6,000 miles for $11,000. That's $1.83 a mile. That's the full rate. You only get 65% of that. So $1.83 a mile, the full rate. Like this one's paying $3.51 a mile. So if you saw a load on here amongst all these loads that are paying $4 a mile, if you saw one on here that was paying $1.83 a mile, you would laugh at that. That would be a fucking joke. Well, that's what this load is. This was paying $1.83 a mile. So what you would actually make times 0.65, you'd be making like $1.19 a mile hauling this crap right here. So I'm trying to convey to people that don't work off of load boards. They don't understand, the pay versus the mileage versus the stops versus the amount of time on the load. There's a lot of factors you have to take into consideration on deciding whether or not a load's good or bad. Where it's picking up from, where it's going, the type of place it's picking up from, the type of place it's going, how long do they have to load, how long do they have to unload. Like all of these factors go into determining whether or not it's a good load or a bad load. And in simplest terms, this load, just breaking it down to the rate per mile, this load is just hot garbage. This is trash. This is one of the worst loads I've ever seen. That's how bad this load is. This thing is terrible. Absolutely terrible. You go out of business hauling shit like this. This is just like some of the worst trash I've ever seen. Let me see if I can search by agency code. And actually, no, I don't want to bother with it. I was curious to see if this agency lists this type of load all over the place. Because what it's looking to me like is this agent has gone out and found a bunch of really garbage loads and packaged them in together as one load and gotten that revenue up there to where they're hoping that somebody that's just a complete fucking idiot will get that load. And I am so relieved that this hot garbage is sitting here on the load board and nobody's taking it. It would actually make me feel bad if this load disappeared off the load board. If I knew that somebody actually pulled this load, it would make me feel bad. Because that's just somebody out here trying to run a business that doesn't have the basic common sense necessary, the basic understanding of the business to be able to determine that this is just an absolutely garbage load that's going to run them out of business. This is terrible. This is a terrible load. So anyway, I'm going to keep looking at the load board and keep looking for a load that picks up around the 10th through the 15th. Somewhere between the 10th and the 15th. Hopefully somewhere around the 12th. The 12th is going to be about perfect. That's like, what is that? Wednesday of next week? Yeah, that sounds great. I would love to leave around Wednesday of next week. Well, actually, if I was picking up a load on Wednesday, I'd probably end up leaving on Tuesday. But that sounds about great. So I would really love to get one of these Joplin, Missouri loads. Not these ones. But there's a whole bunch of Joplin, Missouri loads that, like, here's another one. This is paying $7 a mile. These Joplin, Missouri loads, the reason they're paying extra, they're paying like $6, $7, $8 a mile, is because you have to like drop the trailer off and leave it with the shipper for 24 hours to let them load it. They get 24 hours to load it. And then sometimes they get like 24 hours to unload it on the delivery. And it usually has an extra day or two on the load. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. With the amount of money that the load's paying, I'm okay with that. As long as I can get one that's, at least $5,000 to take up almost a week of my time, where it's mainly just a whole bunch of sitting around. I'm only driving 700 miles in the week, but I'm making, what do I make on 5,500? Let's do $5,600. 5,600 times 0.65, that's $3,640. So if I only drive 700 miles in a week and I'm making $3,600 that week, I'm happy with that, because I have very little fuel costs And one of your big expenses is fuel costs. So on 700 miles, I'm using a half a tank of fuel. So that's 100 gallons at, let's say, $2.60 a gallon. Um, what is that, $260? I'm hoping I'm mathing that out right. I'm just doing that off the top of my head. So $260 in fuel for a week. Like, you can easily spend $800 to $1,000 a week in fuel. So $260 a week in fuel. $260 for a week of fuel. Well, I'm going to have APU usage as well. So let's round it up to $300. $300 for a week. So what I would actually be bringing home after fuel costs will be about $3,300 that week. $3,300 after fuel costs for a week. That's a decent week. I mean, that's not terrible. So, like at USA Truck, what I was averaging per week gross was about 4,700 gross per week on a week where I actually worked all week. You know, I didn't just do like one load and take the week off. But a normal week for me, I was making about 4,700 gross per week. And with one of these Joplin loads, I can make $3,600 gross in a week working like one day. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty fucking awesome. And these loads aren't taken like the whole week. Like this one load right here, you drop the trailer off on the 6th, you pick it up on the 7th, and then you deliver the load on the 10th. They don't even get like a day to unload. So you're on that load from the 6th through the 10th. You're only on that load for 4 days. You still have 3 more days left in the week. So let's break that down to a daily rate. So $3,600 is what I'm making on that load out of the 50. Assuming the load's $5,600, what I'm making on it is $3,600 roughly, and I'm on the load for 4 days. 3,600. I'm not even sure. I think it's actually 3 days. 3,600 divided by 4 is $900 a day. But the reason I say 3 days is you're dropping it off sometime on the 6th. And then you're delivering. You can deliver early on the 10th, like 7 a.m. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. Yeah, so it would be 4 days. If I counted the entire day of the 10th, which you're not using, and you're not using the entire day of the 6th, then it would be 5 days. So yeah, it is actually 4 days you're going to be on the load. And that comes out to $900 a day that you're making. My goal is to make $1,000 a day. And if I'm making close to $1,000 a day and I'm doing nothing but sitting around, because 3 of the 4 days on this load, you're going to be sitting around doing nothing. You're only actually going to be driving for one drive shift. This is one drive shift. That's it. This is 10 hours of work over the course of 4 days. So I love this load. I am really wanting to get one of these Joplin loads. And these Joplin loads are listed all the time. So I'm most likely going to get one. And I would love to get one that was going a decent distance and hopefully going somewhere other than Denver, a good market. But hell, I'm willing to go to Denver. It's not that big of a deal to go to Denver. To go from Joplin to Denver, I'm not sure what route I would take. Let me see here. Let's do this. Joplin, Missouri to Denver, Colorado. Let me just like think for a second on the route that I would take. From Joplin, would I take 49 up to Kansas City and then take 70 across to Denver? Or, like, there are some highways you can take from Joplin over to the 35. Most likely, what I would do to avoid toll roads and highways is I would just take 49 up to Kansas City and then take 70 all the way across to Denver. Let's see what Google um, is recommending here. Google, of course, is recommending a bunch of highways. Let's see what this highway is like. Yeah, this is some bi-directional bullshit. Yeah, Google's not actually recommending the route that I would take. So 700 miles, 10 hours and 25 minutes. I might consider this highway driving right here because it doesn't look like it's a ton of highway driving. So I would consider that. But this, let me show you the route that I would most likely take. This is the route that I would most likely take. My route has tolls. Oh. Where the hell's the toll road? Is the 70 a toll road? Where's the toll road? The 49 is not a toll road. And $435. There we go. We would take the 435 around to the 70. That is the route I would take. The 49 to the 435 to the 70, or the 470. It's 760 miles, 11 hours of drive time. So it might actually take me a little bit more than a single drive shift going the route that I would most likely take. I might maybe cut across on these highways. Where the hell are the tolls at on this? I didn't think this 70 was a toll road. Huh. I'm a little bit baffled right now because I don't know where in the hell the toll road is at. Right here. So they're saying the 70 is a toll road. I didn't know the 70 was a toll road. So they're saying that the 70 in between Topeka and Kansas City is a toll road. Right here, according to this map. The 70 in between Topeka and Kansas City. So if I take highways across and then hop onto the 135, I would avoid all toll roads. So yeah, I might just do the highway driving. I have driven across highways down in southeast Kansas down here. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same highway that I would be driving on this route, but I have driven on highways down here in southeast Kansas. And I'll tell you, they're sketch as fuck. Like, I really regretted like driving on those roads, but they had me picking up somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, my Walmart grocery delivery is here. Let me pause the video and then I'll come back and wrap it up. All right, I just moved in the grocery delivery. So, yeah, I don't know. I would have to do more digging around. I would have to sit here and look at every single one of these highways to figure out what I would do. What I'm thinking right now is this 400. This highway 400. Looks like it has some decent shoulders, but it's going to be some bi-directional crap. But it looks like it would only be, let's see here. We'll measure it over to here because there's going to be like some windy, turny crap. Yeah, it's going to be close to 200 miles of highway driving. So like 3 hours. I mean, there's a lot of options on routes that I could take out of Joplin. I could take this Highway 54 all the way over to the 135. Let's see what this thing is. Looks like another 2-lane highway. Yeah. I think the place that I went to and I picked up a load last time was Coffeyville, Kansas. That might have been it. It was one of my first loads when I was a solo company driver. And it was a lot of 2-lane bi-directional crap. And it sucked so bad. Anyway, I'm not going to do any real in-depth trip planning on it because it's a fictitious load. I don't know what I'm actually going to be taking. But a lot of the loads coming out of Joplin are going to Denver. But there are loads coming out of Joplin that are going other places. Let's refresh. Let's do new since last search. All right, these are the loads that have popped up that are new. Sodaville, Oregon. Yeah, I'm not really wanting to mess with that crap. I don't want to go all the way to Oregon. So what I'm going to do throughout the day today is I'm just going to keep clicking on new since last search, um, and see what they post throughout the day. What I've noticed on Landstar's load board is that the load board is busiest, like the most loads are posted on the load board between like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. And then it kind of dies off. There's not a whole lot of new loads that happen uh, for between like 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. And then there's a few more loads posted in the afternoon between like 2 and 5. And then it just dies off completely. But it's busiest, the busiest time, the best time that I've seen to be looking at the load board is between like 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. And in really busy areas, you can see new loads being posted every couple of seconds, like a new load a minute. Whenever it really starts popping on the load board, it'll be like a load a minute, because the number of loads might get as low as 50,000 total loads on the load board, and then it'll jump up to 20. It'll jump up by 25,000 up to like 75,000 loads within an hour or two. So yeah, it starts kind of taking off. So anyway, I should wrap up the video before it gets too damn long. But that's what's going on with me right now. Sitting at the house, looking for a load, and damn it, somehow I got this thing set over to um, there we go. No. That's something I'm going to have to play with later. Somehow I got this thing set over to Celsius. My little my temperature thing. It tells me I have a indoor outdoor in the I have them set up in the rooms that I use. But anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna be looking for a load, and hopefully when I get back out on the back out on the road this time, not the load, I'll be able to run like normally, like a solid week. It's going to take me a while. Like whenever I first started running for USA Truck, it wasn't until I'd been running for about like 2 or 3 months before I had one solid week of work, because I would like have a lot of partial weeks and then I would take time off because I was figuring things out. I was, had to keep going back to the house to get things done and stuff like that. So it wasn't like it was a month, or it was at least 1 or 2 months before I had a couple of weeks out on the road just running, where I didn't like take a lot of time off or anything. So once I actually get out and I run and without taking time off for a couple of weeks, then I'll be able to tell what I'm going to be able to average on a weekly basis at Landstar. But it looks like I'm going to be able to pretty easily do the $4,700 gross per week that I was doing at USA Truck. And I'm most likely going to be able to do quite a bit more than that if I run hard. Like it looks like I can do like casual running and make more than I was making at USA Truck. So like the very first week I went out, I did 1,200 miles and made $2,900. $2,900 in a week. If I would have ran, double that, that would be what? Almost $6,000. That'd be $5,800 in a week, running 2,400 miles. And I could have easily done that, because that load that I took from Amarillo, or not Amarillo, but from Laredo up to South Dakota, up to Beresford, South Dakota, that load was paying $351 a mile. That's the total. I only get 65% of that. Remember that. I only get, like, whenever I'm talking about what the load pays. I will specify what I'm making whenever I'm talking about what I'm making. But the load was paying $351 a mile or $357 a mile. It was like right at the minimum threshold of my search. I only searched for loads over $350 a mile. And there were tons of loads over $350 a mile that I could have taken after that load. So I could have done a 2,400 mile week and made close to 6 grand. I could have easily done that last week. Well, maybe that load had like 5 or 6 days on it. So no, I couldn't have done that because of the amount of time on that load. But as you can see on the load board, there are tons of loads paying over 350 a mile. And if the load is paying, not what I'm making, but if the load is paying 350 a mile or more, I can pretty easily do close to $6,000 in a week. That's a pretty easy week to do if the load is paying 350 or more. $8 a mile. Gonna take 4 days. So yeah, these we'll have to wait and see. I mean, theoretically, it looks like I can make a lot of money, but we'll have to wait and see what I actually do when I get out there and run. For now, I'm still trying to figure things out, and I'm just not feeling very well. You know, like I said, I just felt exhausted. And I'm going to try to get that issue resolved by getting some better bedding, you know, a better mattress and some better pillows, and hopefully get the exhaustion issue resolved and get out there and be able to run hard next time. So anyway, I should wrap up the video there. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it if you made it all the way to the end of the video, and I hope that you got whatever information you were looking for out of the video. So thanks for watching. Have a good one, and bye.